Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining on this live podcast on a very interesting subject that had a good sign up for, and that is the many causes of weight gain people don't know, people don't realize, people don't understand. Of course, many of my patients are trying to lose weight, probably as much as half of them. And, they always try the same old thing. Not eating less, starving out, and now, of course, the new fad, intermediate fasting, which the way it's presented, at least on social media, is completely wrong. They tell you to, not eat all day, and then you have a 6-hour window, and you can just kind of eat during that period. That's a disaster. I had one woman, and she did the appointment with me, and I told her, if you're gonna fast, you got to go the whole day. Don't eat and only eat the next morning. And she said, soon as she did that, all of her gas and bloating went away. So what was happening is she was not eating all day. And then she had this 6-hour window in the late afternoon and early evening. And then she just was very hungry there. She's had some nuts, had some crackers, had some food, had a meal, ate some more nuts, and then ate another meal. And it was giving her gas and bloating every single night. This went on for months and months. And that was one of her main complaints when she did the appointment, was gas and bloating. And it was because of this fraudulent, incorrect, intermediate fasting information that is being presented on social media. If you're going to fast, you got to go the whole day and start eating the next day. That will reset your metabolism, reset your digestion. You can't go fast all day and then pig out at night. That's actually worse than just maybe eating in the morning and then not eating in the afternoon. And when you go all day and fast, you're hungry in the morning, then you'll eat in the morning, and maybe by the end of the day, you don't need to eat anymore, which is much healthier to have that meal or maybe a late breakfast or early dinner or something, and that's it, than it is to do this what's called intermediate fasting now. So basically, most people who are overweight, I just advocate 2 meals a day anyway. And that's basically intermediate fasting every day, because maybe you're not having breakfast till 11 or 12. And then you go all the way from this brunch all the way to early dinner at 4, 5, or 6. So you're fasting from another 6, 7 hours there. Then you have dinner at 6, and then you're going all the way to the next day till 11 again. You're fasting 3 times a day right there. So, by having 2 meals a day and no snacking, that is intermediate fasting. So if you're very overweight, that's very effective, 2 meals a day. However, back to my point that most people believe this kind of starvation, intermediate fasting method is the way to weight loss. And second most common method is just go to the gym and have somebody kick your ass and work out, run on that treadmill. I'm sure it does work for some people to go to the gym and work out, because of course we all live very sedentary lives, and getting up and moving and exercising and doing some cardio or some weights definitely is healthy for a person who's not very active and gaining weight easy and sitting all day at a desk. But it may not be effective at all. I've had many people that gone to gyms, paid for gym memberships, had private trainers. They were kicking their ass, give me 5 more, pushing them. And they only lost a little weight, and then it just plateaued. They just couldn't keep losing weight. So that's because you're making the flawed mistake of not diagnosing the health condition before you treat it. Because when you try to lose weight, you're treating a health condition. So as a professional, the first thing I do is diagnose what is the cause of this health condition. What are the symptoms of this health condition? But in this case, we're talking about the causes of weight gain. So when 10 people come to me with being overweight, I may identify 2 or 3 causes that are different for each of these 10 people. That means their treatment is going to be different because they have different causes. So what you can do if you're listening to this podcast is get a piece of paper out. And then when I go through this list of causes of weight gain, you just write down the ones that are your causes. And then you need to treat these. And then, you go to the gym, exercise more, and eat less and things like this. It will probably help. But you first have to remove these causes and focus on them. In fact, most of my patients who are trying to lose weight, I don't bother telling them to go to the gym. I don't tell them even to exercise more. I tell them don't take naps, don't don't lie down, try to walk after meals. But usually they're so lethargic and heavy and tired and weak and congested that you can't tell a person in that state to go exercise. I wait until they start feeling better, feeling more light, and their energy is improving and they start losing weight. And then once they lose the first 10 pounds, 15 pounds, then I can tell them, why don't you could go do some exercise, go do more walking in the park. Fast walking down the road really is one of the best ways. Walking up a hill is very effective. Walking up steps is very effective. You really don't need to go to the gym. Most people who are overweight have plenty of muscle carrying around that extra weight for so many years. What they need is to get moving, and you can just do this by walking every day. And I don't even tell people to walk initially because I treat the causes first. So I hope you're ready to go here. Now we're going to go through this long list of causes, and you try to identify the ones that are you. And then, some of them I have treatments from, because this whole podcast is sponsored by Herbman Teas. That's herbmanteas.com. And some of the products that I mention here are going to all be available on herbmanteas.com. And some of the treatments to address some of these causes, the only way to do it is with an herbal product. So you may have to get some herbs to be able to treat some of these causes. So the first and very common cause of weight gain is emotions. That's right. We call it emotional eating. So you're eating because it's helping your mood feel better. And we know that the grains and the bread and, they're called the calming foods. I mean, sometimes when people have trauma in life, they end up eating a lot of bread that's flooding their body with B vitamins, and this supports their nervous system. It makes them feel calm. Also, we get addicted to sugar. So it's kind of a little different than emotional eating. We could call addictive eating another cause. And then you're addicted. I mean, you're addicted to sugar, and it's very hard to stop. It's not easy to stop. But back to the emotional eating, Herbman Teas does have a tea called Appetite Control Tea, and there are herbs in there that balance your blood sugar and relax your nerves and help to reduce emotional eating. But the cause behind the emotional eating is anxiety, nervousness, sensitivity. So, we often think of an overweight person as some big, heavy thug, who doesn't have very sensitive. But there are certain types of people who are very sensitive people, and they're worried a lot. They're overthinking a lot. They're having maybe a little anxiety. They're having insomnia. And when they eat, snacking, eating at night, having sweets, cookies, candy, they're pleasing themselves. They feel better, and they become addicted to this. And it's kind of a type of emotional eating. So these type of people, I don't give them any stimulating teas, because I do have many weight loss teas that have caffeine. I get them off of the coffee. I try to focus on their sleep. I give them relaxing herbs, and then I give them the weight control tea, which really makes it easy for me, because I just tell them, drink the weight control tea between the meals. And then I don't have to worry as much about their self-discipline to be able to stop this emotional eating, because the tea makes it easier. It's a great tool, a great product. We used to call it weight control tea, And then years ago, it was renamed appetite control tea. But with emotional eating, the person needs to be more calm and sleep better and reduce stress. So it's like a secondary treatment. They come to me for weight loss, but I realize the cause of their weight gain is their own emotions. So I have to focus on calming herbs. Even if a person has depression, that can make a person want sweets and stimulate themselves with the sweets. And so then I treat the depression. I would rather treat the depression and the mental state first before I start putting them on weight loss herbs, because I've identified the cause is we have an emotional eater here. And I asked the patient, and, I asked them, would you call yourself an emotional eater? And they say usually definitely. So it's not a difficult thing to diagnose, and you probably know if you're in that category. And I was leading up to the second one, and that is addiction. Now, we can be addicted to alcohol, and we can be addicted to sweets, sugar. We can be addicted to soda pop. So these are tough because, like all addictions, it takes a lot of discipline to stop. And we don't have a tea called self-discipline tea. I'm working on it. Maybe I can get one in the future, but we do need to have self-discipline. In fact, I would say we could even say that's another cause of weight gain, lack of self-discipline. There's really no way you can lose weight if you don't have self-discipline. It's like impossible. And again, I will ask a person, would you say that the lack of self-discipline to control yourself, to not buy the snacks, buy the cookies, eat the snacks, eat the cookies is a problem? And they will always reply, if it's the case, definitely. Now, some people say, nope, if you tell me not to do it, I can do it. Okay, fine. So we don't have a self-discipline problem there. So that's a discipline problem. Most of these people, they need more motivation. They need more support. They need more regular appointments, and they need a little pressure and somebody and some accountability to help them to achieve their goal of not eating all day, not snacking at night, not buying potato chips. So I have patients like this, and I just text them every once in a while on our system. Don't buy the chips. Don't go out to eat. Cook your beans. And they know that these little reminders help them to have the discipline to make these changes in their lives. But as we know, that once any type of new habit is formed, it can take a little while to form it. But after a month of having this new habit, we find that the people then are able to continue. So even this appetite control tea, you can give it to a person for the first month or two. And then after a while, you say, you want some more appetite control tea? And they said, no, I'm good now. I'm not eating anymore at night. So they got out of the habit, and they used more self-discipline. And now we don't have this emotional eating, this uncontrolled eating anymore. But I put those causes, lack of self-discipline, emotional eating, as the first and number one unidentified cause for weight gain. Because if you don't have the self-discipline, you're not even going to get to the gym. You're going to pay the membership and not go. So without self-discipline, there's no way. You're not going to have the discipline to walk. You're not going to have the discipline to go buy the right foods. You're not going to have the discipline to not go out. You're not going to have the discipline to not eat the cookies. So it's a big factor, discipline. And if you have somebody else in your house supporting you, it helps a lot. Next, poor digestion. This is also very, very common. And people don't think about their digestion. In fact, they don't even want me to treat their digestion. They just want my famous weight loss herbs. They'll even say, just send me the herbs you sent my sister. I go, well, I may have given your sister completely different herbs that I'm going to give you now because you have a big digestive problem. What are the signs of poor digestion? This is going to surprise you. No appetite. That's right. When you're not hungry till 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you have poor digestion. This is going to result in type of malabsorption. That's why the Ayurvedic doctor wants to see your tongue. He wants to see the congestion. He wants to see the absorption. of your nutrients by observing your tongue, and of course, asking questions. Now, a lot of people in this category even will say to me, I'm not eating much, but I'm still gaining weight. Well, that's the sign right there. You're not eating much and you're gaining weight because your digestion is so poor. You're eating food, you're not absorbing it. And then, in fact, this will often make more cravings later on and more emotional eating later because, it kicks in later in the evening and the night, and then you become pigging out at night, which gets to the next point of just eating at the wrong time. That's why that intermediate fasting is such bad advice, because they say, you can just eat within the 6-hour window. And if that's in the evening, you're breaking one of the golden rules of weight loss, and that's don't eat too much in the evening. And of course, if you have no appetite in the morning, you're not hungry, you're trying to lose weight, you think, well, I'm not eating all day, I'm going to work, I'm hungry, I'm still not eating. But then when you come in the door, you start eating in your little 6-hour window, and now you're still gaining weight because you're a lot of problems there. So having good appetite is actually a healthy sign. It shows your metabolism is working. When you have no appetite, your metabolism is tanked. And that's why in fasting, you should just go the whole day on, we have a tea, we could do the appetite control tea all day long or something. And then the next day you'll wake up hungry and you'll eat in the morning. And just by fasting one day and eating in the morning the next day, then you will reset this habit of eating too late at night. And then you'll start eating and be hungry in the morning. Then you don't eat anything at night, which makes you more hungry in the morning. And now you have a much healthier routine. So many of my patients, after I teach them this, don't eat at night, don't snack at night, take the appetite control tea at night, they become hungry in the morning and stop, of course, snacking. This is a big disaster. I'm going to cover that. But what happens is they then come back and say, I think I'm even physically eating more now than before, but I'm losing weight. That's because their metabolism is working, and also they're eating the right foods, because if you eat the wrong foods, it doesn't matter. You're not going to lose weight if you're just eating completely the wrong foods. So the appetite should be strong. You should be absorbing the food, and you shouldn't be having a lot of gas and bloating and constipation. And what ruins the digestion more than anything that I see is snacking on nuts and protein bars. It's unbelievable. I mean, people buy these organic nuts. You couldn't find a more fattening habit in your life than snacking on nuts. And not only will it, as a weight gainer, but also it's going to clog you up, congest you, and ruin your appetite, which I just talked about before. So when you snack on nuts, you're not hungry for the meal. You just keep on snacking. And that's extremely unhealthy. It just becomes congestive and blocking. And so it's ruining your appetite. If you want to lose weight, you have to stop snacking. You can have your 2 meals a day, maybe even better, 1 meal a day. And maybe if you're only a little overweight and you have some anxiety, like emotional eating, then I wouldn't even do 2 meals a day. I would do the 3 meals a day and focus on eating the right foods and not snacking. You're only going to lose weight in between the meals. That's why people think intermittent fasting is so good, because, you're not eating for a long period of time. But that's only half correct. If you do start eating at the wrong time, then you're going to just blow the whole thing. So snacking is another big problem. Eating late's another big problem. And then on the next area we'll cover for causes of weight gain people don't really know about, and that is congestion, a lymphatic congestion, swelling in the ankles, swelling in the legs, varicose veins. Any type of swelling is basically a type of lymphatic congestion. You can get, you can feel your lymphatic system, and you can feel it's puffy and swelling under your armpits and your ankles, and so you're congested. And also, what you'll see, water retention too. And then congestion can also include your liver And your gallbladder, of course, gallstones is basically a type of liver congestion. And then, of course, constipation. You can't lose weight if you're constipated. In fact, a lot of women I'm into who they're just not really overweight. They just got this belly. And of course, big belly can be from alcoholic liver. A lot of men get the belly from the alcoholic liver, so you look a little pregnant. But it's also very common that people aren't having regular bowel movements every day, and the whole cause of their belly is constipation. But they're going to the gym, starving themselves out, doing intermediate fasting, watching social media, learning trying to lose weight, trying weight loss, medicine. And the whole problem, the whole time, is constipation. So, and it's easy to determine because you just ask some person how many bowel movements you have in a day. If they're saying 1 a day, then you say how many meals you have in a day. 3 meals a day or 2 meals a day. So you're constipated. I mean, if you're eating 3 meals a day and you're only going once, it's constipation. So people don't realize even what it is. And then sometimes I said, have you ever any colon pain? Have you ever had diverticuli? Yeah. The doctor told me I had diverticuli. So you're only getting diverticuli or pockets in your colon from constipation. Have you ever had hemorrhoids? Yeah, I have hemorrhoids. I still have now. Well, you're going to get that. One of the main causes of hemorrhoids is constipation. Are your stools dry and hard? Yeah, dry like a golf ball. Well, that's constipation. So people don't even know what constipation is. I mean, there's people going every other day and still think, oh, well, that's normal for me. I hear it every week. It's normal for me because they don't know. They haven't been trained. They didn't do the Ayurvedic course on bowel movements. And they're not talking to hundreds of other people who would tell you, no, it's not normal. Of course, but you can have people having 5 or 6 loose bowel movements a day for a long time too. This is another subject. So when we're talking about congestion, if you're blocked up, your liver's blocked up, your colon's blocked up, you have swelling, water retention, that could even be kidney blockage. This is a major cause of weight gain. And in fact, Urban Teas has a tea called Slimming Detox Tea. And that tea is for this problem of congestion. And it says 14-day cleanse before you begin your weight loss. So I just hand it to the people who are my patients. And I say, just drink this tea 2 or 3 cups a day for just 2 weeks. It's got liver herbs in it, gallbladder herbs in it, colon herbs in it, kidney herbs in it. Basically just flushes them out, gets them pumped, gets the bowels moving, gets them urinating, gets the swelling down. You can't be doing this type of tea for very long because it's a real big combination of a lot of strong herbs. But this is for somebody who's big, heavy, 50 pounds overweight. There's a lot of sluggishness here and blockages and congestion. And they'll do that slimming detox tea for even 10 days. And they're saying, wow, big difference. And then if the person just has that belly in the front, this little pooch, we call it below the belly button, it's kind of in the women, they think it's fat. But you give them a nice colon herb, get them going. That's for hard stools. We have different colon herbs. And so for that type of person who's thin and just has a belly, I wouldn't give them the slimming detox tea. I would just give them a colon formula using Enron Haritaki or castor oil. And these are for dry, hard stools, this formula. And give them that every night. And then they start having, 2, 3, 4 bowel movements a day. And the belly in the front's gone. It's just in a week or 2. So, and they've had it for a long time. They kept thinking it was weight when the whole time it was constipation. So also, not just a clogged up liver can be a problem, but just poor liver function. When you get your lab work from the doctor, look at the metabolic panel, look at the bilirubin, the AST, the ALT. And even though your bilirubin may be in range, if it's on the high side, it's not good. I mean, the ranges provided by the doctor are kind of pretty broad. So I view them differently than, say, a doctor would. So if your bilirubin is just the high side, that's already not a good sign. And so it could be poor liver function. And if you have a history of drinking alcohol in the past, another sign you better treat the liver. Now, people think that they can do some juices for the liver and things like that. And some of these juices can be beneficial, but it's much easier just to take the herbs because they're like foods concentrated. Yeah, you could do a little juicing too on top of it, but it's not necessary. I'm treating cirrhosis of the liver, fatty liver, high cholesterol. Yeah, if you have high cholesterol and fatty liver, then you got to treat the liver. And many people have done a lot of things like go to the gym, not eat as much, get rid of all their old bad habits of going out and eating junk food, fast food, and they're still not losing weight. And almost inevitably, it's the digestion or the liver or both, and or metabolism. And we talked about that. So treat the liver if there's any signs and symptoms, or you just have a history of doing pharmaceutical drugs. A lot of recreational drugs will damage the liver. And if you've been even on a couple medications for 10 or 15 years, you're going to have some adverse effects on your liver, and particularly if you have a long history of drinking. So there's enough clues there. I don't need to do even the blood test. If I hear enough, the metabolism's poor, there's some bad habits in the past that affected the liver, and you can even press on the liver, see if it's tender. If there was any problems with gallbladders in the past, then this is enough reason to treat the liver. You really can never lose treating the liver. Now, of course, I do use many different liver formulas. I have a gentle liver formula. If you're thin, I got a big strong one for heavy overweight people. I have one that's a little cooling for people who are hot and pitta. So I have different liver formulas. I even have one formula called Liver and Digest, taken before meals. And that's for somebody, it's a very strong formula. It's for somebody who has weak digestion and poor liver function. And I just have them take a half a teaspoon of this very strong formula before every meals. And that will start improving the liver quickly and strengthening the digestion almost immediately. The liver is a wonderful organ. Well, taking herbs for just a month or 2 months, and you can almost save a liver, even from cirrhosis of the liver. Definitely fatty liver in just a couple months. So the last category is eating the wrong foods. And of course, we see that a lot today because people are following fad diets online. And I can't tell you the best weight loss diet because each person is individual. Say you got a sensitive person who was thin their whole life, and they're not really like a big, heavy, obese person, but they put on an extra 20 pounds, but they're having anxiety and poor sleep. You better just let them have their 3 meals a day, because by restricting their foods too much, they're going to have more anxiety. So even restricting your foods and fasting isn't always a good idea for some types. It depends on the individual. And it also will depend on the food. There's a lot of people who have a very sensitive digestion. They get gas and bloating easy, and beans really bother them. So you can't put this type of person with weak digestion, we call it, on salads all day long. They're just going to be gassy and bloated, and have intestinal pain. And many people have gotten even IBS by just having kale all the time, raw kale juices. So you can't just throw people on salads and raw vegetables and cabbage and beans just because those are really the best weight loss foods. And I would love to put you on those. But if I can see that your digestion isn't going to do it, then I have to just, give you cooked foods, soft foods, easier to digest foods, because your digestion's more important. If you're not, it doesn't matter how healthy you think the food is, how good it is. If your body's not capable of digesting that salad, then it's useless. It's going to create more problems. So the diet has to be adjusted accordingly with the person's capacity to digest the food. The other big mistake people make with diets is they do these keto diet, carnivore diet. And those generally they'll lead to, we get people on those. They do lose weight initially because it's another type of starvation diet. They're not having any fruit, not having any grains, not having any starches. So, they're leaving out entire food categories and not having any dairy because, okay, whatever. Early man just ran around eating meat. But a nice theory, interesting theory. But it can cause a lot of problems, and not everybody can even digest that much meat and fat. And two, these people come to me with gallbladder problems, liver problems, fatty liver problems. And another thing I get the paleo keto diet for is kidney failure. Those people, you got to be on it a few years. I've had some people on it 5, 6, 7 years, and they start to get gout. And gout, of course, is detected by high uric acid levels, and uric acid level is produced from protein waste. And so they're having this extreme high protein diet, and then the uric acid's too high. They start to get gouty symptoms. And then, of course, the kidneys fail or start to fail. You see the eGFR go down. You see the creatine levels go up. And then the doctor starts telling them your kidneys are failing. And that's because they're high protein diet. So these people not only have a lot of meat and fat, but then they put protein powders as well. And these are the big culprits, is the protein powder. Probably if they would have just stuck to the salmon, once a day, there's a lot of vegetables. They may have been okay, but they tend to go too far, throw in the protein powder as well. And even people who are vegetarians are just doing a lot of protein powder. I've seen problems with the kidneys because the kidneys have to process the waste from this protein metabolism, and it becomes a burden on them, and they can start to fail. And kidneys are unlike the liver, they're very slow in recovery. Now, of course, I do treat kidney failure, and I have other webinars on that subject. But it takes a lot longer than treating any liver problem. And the diet is more restricted than before. And the first thing that we do is reduce the protein, number one. So I've had people on keto diets for 5, 6 years, eating their high-fat, high-protein diet. And now the doctor told them the kidneys are failing. So now I have to put them on a low-protein diet, which is the opposite of what they were doing. Mostly that means beans, which keto people don't do beans. But, when your kidneys are failing, you become a little more open-minded. I've noticed that. Generally, once, pain, stroke, heart attack, near death, couple trips to the ER, the thought of doing dialysis for the rest of your life, it tends to make people more open-minded, if you know what I mean. And my gender, unfortunately, tends to be the most stubborn, digs in the longest, and waits the longest to wake up and make some changes. So if you're in that category, better be thinking about your, extreme diet. It's just another extreme from the vegan diet. The vegan diet is just another extreme in another direction. But before I throw the vegan diet under the bus, it's probably the best weight loss diet. I would prefer a person who's losing weight to do the vegan diet and not snack. But beans, a big mistake vegans make is they're not doing the meat. Okay, meat's a high protein, weight gaining substance, unless you just want to build muscle or go in ketosis. Beans are the poor man's protein. And if you eat beans and vegetables, little fruit, you don't have to leave out the entire food group. There's only a few food groups, and leaving whole food groups out is what I would consider radical. And in fact, there's even grains you could eat every day and lose weight. You got millet, you got buckwheat, and a lot of my patients are just doing quinoa. Yeah, you can't do wheat. That's out. That's a weight gainer. Everybody knows that. And oats, we all know. Ask any pig farmer, how do you put weight on your pig? Give them oats. So that's out. I know people says the doctor says good for cholesterol, but hey, the doctor's a medical doctor. He's not even a nutritionist. So just throw that out the window. Oats is a very fattening food. Just ask any pig farmer. They've told me, I'll give it to the pigs the last 2 weeks. And, that puts weight on them because, we make our money by selling them by the weight. I've had a pig farmer right in my office telling me that, telling me I didn't know. So oats is out for sure. If you're a skinny woman, underweight, oats is in. And if you're thin, weak, frail, wheat is in. So they're not bad. We got to get rid of this bad, 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 good, bad mentality. It's just like a child, I remember my kids were like good, bad, everything. I think they call it adolescent mentality. But for weight loss, let's just say not the right food. Wheat, oats, and then rice. The rice also, particularly if you have even pre-diabetic, you can't do white rice or brown rice, and white rice is worse than brown rice. Now, I know some people that got the arsenic in the brown rice, they've said. People get this online, but, that's, you got to go look into it. Depends on where it was raised, and apparently in the South, they sprayed it, a lot of the area with when they were growing cotton, they sprayed a lot of arsenic all over the place. And then when the cotton business went out, they put rice, and then the rice absorbs the cotton. But you can get the organic rice from India and other places that weren't spraying arsenic all over the place prior to that. So not all brown rice is contaminated with arsenic. And a lot of foods have little trace amounts of arsenic. But rice is out basic, particularly white rice, is not a weight loss food, particularly if you have any blood sugar issues. So what's left? A lot of those gluten-free grains that you see, but not always the gluten-free bread, because some of the gluten-free breads are also made of rice. You want millet. You can eat all the millet you want. You're going to lose weight. Buckwheat. That's just what the Russians eat. They call it grechka. I hope I got that right. Eastern Europeans, they know about this. And I used to go to Dubai all the time and had a lot of Russian clients there. And I remember I was saying, what grain do you eat? And they were grechka. So we had to look it up on the phone. And that's buckwheat. Perfect. Eat it. And then after a while, I just got to know the word. And they're eating this grechka, buckwheat. You can have buckwheat oats, buckwheat bread, buckwheat pancakes. You still should have it with some protein, probably either some beans or some lean protein. You can do some lean meat. I mean, it's not the end of the world, particularly if you're diabetic and you have blood sugar problems. You're probably better off to do the lean meat or even fish than you are the beans. But that's like a second complication when you have the blood sugar issues. So we're talking about a person who's overweight without blood sugar issues. The best is beans. Black beans, pinto beans, and some other grain. I get a lot of Hispanic clients, being from Southern California and Southern Texas. We get a lot of Hispanics, and they like cornbread. Now, problem with corn, though, of course, is it's mostly GMO, but now you can buy organic corn flour. So a lot of times I give these Hispanic people, I should just do your corn tortilla. Don't deep fry it in pig lard, just use some healthy fat, like little sunflower oil or little ghee. And you can have your corn tortilla and your beans and your vegetable. They go, that's great. I could eat that every day. And they lose 10 pounds a month. And they're not starving themselves. You can still have, so you just have to pick the right grain. And then, of course, the Eastern Europeans and the Russians, I just let them have their grechka, their buckwheat, because they already know this is a weight loss grain. But obviously you don't want a lot of grains, and you want to fill yourself up on the protein. And the best, if you're not diabetic, is the beans. So you got beans and a little grain. Now, if you're not into cornbread or grechka, then you can do quinoa. So quinoa, beans, and some vegetables. And if your digestion's good and you're not getting a lot of gas and bloating from salads, then great, do big salads. So there you go. It's a simple big salads, some quinoa, and a lot of beans twice a day, just twice a day. I got some people they'll do on Saturdays and Sundays. Saturday, once a day, Sundays fast, Monday through Friday, 2 meals a day. And they're just eating beans and quinoa and vegetables. You could do raw or you can do cooked, but there's certain vegetables that are weight gainers, like sweet potato. That's like the skinny woman vegetable. I don't want to use the word bad, because if you're thin, sweet potato with butter is perfect for you, but not if you're trying to lose weight. The best vegetables for losing weight are, besides the leafy greens, spinach, lettuce, celery, and parsley and dandelion greens. Those are really good. All leafy greens. And then the cabbage family: cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower, and kale. But they can be steamed. They don't have to be raw. You don't have to do everything raw. That's another flawed thinking, that you should do everything raw. That's the another extreme diet, the raw food diet, which you don't hear about as much anymore. A lot of the people got IBS and intestinal problems and nutritional depletion and, fertility issues. So it's not as popular as it once been. But you'll lose weight on it. It's not, anybody can lose weight. Just starve yourself out for a couple of weeks or a month. And these raw diets, even to some degree, even the keto diet, they're kind of like extreme diets, and you can lose weight on them. But the whole idea is to lose weight, not feel bad, not be nutritionally depleted. That's the trick. I mean, if you want to lose weight, just go throw yourself on a desert island for a month with only water. You're going to lose weight, but you're going to be nutritionally deficient. And a lot of people have been doing extreme dieting and too much fasting, come to me with nutritional deficiencies. And when you have nutritional deficiencies, then you get emotional eating, emotional cravings, because you're so deficient. The body's demanding that you eat something, then you can't control yourself. But when you're eating a nice, complete meal, your quinoa, your beans, and some vegetables, you're full, you're satiated, you're not craving. You have that for 5, 6 o'clock in the evening, and you're not hungry till the next day. Now, and you can have fruit. Now, the weight gaining fruits are the sweet ones. Banana is the weight gainer. Again, I didn't say it's bad if you're a thin person and you get dizzy, lightheaded, and pass out because you have so little body weight on you. Then banana is perfect for you. You could even have a banana or two a day, bananas and avocados and dates. These are the weight gainers. They're heavy, dense foods. The best ones for weight loss are really like apples, pears, blueberries. They're going to be the low glycemic ones. And of course, depending on your blood sugar levels, if you just have a pre-diabetic, you can get away with apples and pears and low glycemic fruit. But if you have very high blood sugar, you can't even have any fruit. So each time you have an additional health problem, high blood sugar, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, the diet's just going to get more restrictive. So if we're just talking today about somebody who has overweight, every case gets more complicated when you start having more problems. And of course, the trifecta of health problems these days is the blood sugar, blood pressure, and kidney failure combo, because the blood pressure damages the kidneys. And so you get the kidney failure from the high blood pressure, and the medication you're taking for the blood pressure also damages the kidneys. You can start to have liver problems and gallbladder problems and blood sugar problems. And then the case obviously becomes a lot more complicated. Today, we were just focusing on basically weight loss, by itself. Every additional health problem you have can require more herbs and a more restrictive diet. So you want to, and of course, excess weight, it contributes to high blood pressure. And then high blood pressure damages the kidneys. And that's how you get this combo. And the snacks, the sweets, the cookies, the soda pop, it's creating the weight and the blood sugar, which, then the weight gets up, then makes the blood pressure goes up. And then 10, 15 years later with high blood pressure, the kidneys are failing. And that's how you end up with diabetes, high blood pressure, and kidney failure. And it all started with you eating the sweets, the cookies, the candy, the uncontrolled eating, the emotional eating, the lack of discipline, going out, eating junk food, and just basically not caring. Now, I had one client recently, and the husband was, in his early 50s, much younger than me. And there he was, kidney failure, high blood pressure, diabetes, cholesterol. And he was even in the hospital when they did the appointment with me. So let's just wait until the absolute last minute to make some changes. So I'm talking to him in the hospital bed with his wife there, who made him do the appointment. Thank God for her. And so he's like, okay, I'm going to stop the soda pop. I'm going to stop the drinking. I'm going to stop everything. And wife's going, I've been telling him for 20 years. He never listens to me. And so I'm telling him to stop it. Now he's in the hospital. He's listening now. And then, he was taking the herbs, and then he was home and he was losing weight, and he's now listening to the wife. I told him, I hate to say it, but you got to listen to the wife. She's been telling you this for 20 years. And then one time I had the wife alone. I was waiting for the husband to show up to the appointment on Zoom. So I asked the wife, I go, how come your husband, I mean, we know he had a lot of bad habits, but how did his health get this bad? And she summed it up with one phrase that I never forgot. And she said, he just didn't care. So I would say that's a major cause of weight gain, just not caring. So I'll leave you with that, and hope you start caring about your health. Nobody can help you with your health, not even your loving wife, if you're not caring for yourself. So that's the first step. Start caring what you eat, caring what you're doing, caring what you're putting in your mouth, caring what food you buy, and start having some discretion and some self-discipline before your condition just progresses into serious and chronic health conditions. I wish you all the best of health and happiness. Once again, thanks to our sponsor, herbmanteas.com, and many of the weight loss products that I mentioned. He has weight loss tea. They got appetite control tea. They got slimming detox tea. They got Ayurvedic formulas for weight loss, many herbs for weight loss, all on herbmanteas.com, and use the discount code podcast10 off. All right. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I wish you the best of health and happiness. God bless you all.